And I got your message on the push Facebook group, and I wanted to just create a video and answer your question because not you're not the only person that actually has this question. So I wanted to attempt to bring as much value to everyone on the group as possible. Your question for me was, when you go to an expired listing appointment, what items do you bring besides the normal listing paperwork? And so I think that's a great question. I'm going to give you an answer you probably want to hear and an answer you may not want to hear, but you need to hear. Um, First and foremost, if you have any stats, whether they're your own personal stats, homes that were expired that you have listed and sold, I would compare, your results to when it was listed previously with the other agent. To give you an example of what I mean by that, if it was listed for 300 days with company one, and you took the listing and you sold it in 30 days, put that information down to show them that you have an expertise at listing expired property and being successful at it. So I would definitely include that information. So any statistics you have would be great. Or if you want to use your office statistics, if your office has experience listing expired properties, put down, how your office compares to the homes that were previously listed by other agents. So I would definitely bring that information. The answer that I continue to talk about that I believe is extremely important, it is not a listing appointment if you have not pre-qualified that seller. And so the main thing I believe that you need to bring to the listing appointment is the answers to all their questions when you pre-qualify them. And the first question is, when I come out and meet with you, if you feel comfortable and feel confident that I can get your property sold, do you plan on listing your home with me when I come by, Friday evening at 6 p.m.? If their answer was yes, that's fantastic. And yet there are so many other questions that need to be covered during that pre-qualification questionnaire. So I would make sure that you go over every question with that seller before you get to that listing appointment, so that when you're there, once you present, if they're not ready to list with you, when you finish your presentation and during your pre-qualification, if they said that they would list with you, if they felt confident and comfortable with you, you can go back to that and say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you mentioned before I came out here that if you felt comfortable with me, you would list your home with me. The fact that you aren't ready to sign the paperwork, it's telling me that there's something I haven't covered or something you don't feel comfortable with. Let's discuss that. What do we need to be talking about right now? And then you have an opportunity to close again after you can dig a little deeper with the seller. And depending on the seller, if they're like me and my wife, we typically don't like to make a decision until we have a chance to talk as a couple, just to fill each other out and say, do you like this guy? Is this somebody I actually want to work with? And it could be a simple 2-minute conversation where we both, give you thumbs up, or one of us is positive, the other is negative. However, if you leave the home and they have that discussion, and between the time they're able to get back in touch with you, another agent comes in and closes, you may lose that potential listing. So I believe that if you leave that house without getting the listing signed, the chances decrease that you'll actually get the listing paperwork signed. So one thing I learned years ago, give them an opportunity to have a discussion, right? So what I typically say is, listen, I know you guys need some time to talk. What I'm going to do is step out to my car, return a few emails and phone calls, and in 10 minutes, I'll come back in and let's make a decision today on whether or not you're going to list your house with me. Fair enough? It takes them off guard. It's a pattern interrupt. They're not used to agents doing that. And every time I've done it and gone to my car and come back in, they've made a decision right there. And typically the decision 9 times out of 10 is to list with me. So I would encourage you to do that. So Joe, again, I know this was a long-winded answer to your question. I don't think there's any other documentation you need to bring unless you have statistics to show why they should be listing with you based on your experience working with expired listings. What you really need to bring is the pre-qualification questionnaire with every single question filled out. That's going to give you the ammunition you need to get that listing. And if you did your job correctly and you dug deep And so when you ask questions, if you needed to get clarity, you got the clarity so that you can move on to the next question. I believe that's your listing to lose. So hopefully that answers your question. Thanks a lot. Bye.